Welcome to the My Practice, My Business Roundtable. And we're excited to be here with a company called Dental Menu. I'm the co-host of the show, Dr. Rob Thorup, and I'm here with my other co-host.
Tracy Thorup. I'm the CEO of My Practice, My Business.
We're excited to have Dental Menu with us today and excited to have a couple of office managers that are sitting on my right. And we'd like to introduce everybody first. And if we could, let's go with Amy here on my right. Introduce yourself and what you do in your practice and where you work at.
I'm Amy. I work at Jordan Valley Dental as the insurance coordinator. I've been there for 13 years.
13 years. You love your job still?
I really do. It's a lot, but yeah.
That's awesome. Excellent. And Erica, introduce yourself.
I'm Erica Iverson. I've been with Harriman Family Dental for 16 and a half years, working for Dr. Lambert that whole time. We did have a merger that presented it as Harriman Family Dental. Love it. Yeah.
Awesome. Glad to have both of you here. And of course, we'd like to welcome Paul with Dental Menu. And Paul, introduce yourself and what you do for Dental Menu and who you are.
Thanks. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Dental Menu. These are clients of ours. They're awesome. I'm excited for you guys to chat with them. And we help offices with their in-house membership plans. So if you're trying to have an alternative to insurance, you want to offer something to your patients, we help offices do that.
We're really glad to have all of you here today. And I want you to everybody just relax and we'll have a good time. We'll have a good discussion because in-house plans is something that Tracy and I have been studying for years. We have a lot of our clients that are with in-house plans. Years ago, they were a lot of insurance companies pushed against them because they obviously felt a very strong threat to in-house plans. And we want to start out the discussion with why is there such a need for in-house plans in dentistry? Maybe, Paul, you could address that first.
Sure. One of the reasons we started the company was this need. So Eric, actually at Harriman, they were clients of ours probably 14, 15 years ago. And I was doing marketing. We were doing a lot of new patient generation. So when a new patient comes in to the flow, they either have dental insurance or they don't. And what we saw was the retention was terrible on the uninsured patients. So to give you some numbers, we looked at 250,000 new patients that we had generated into all these practices. So this was our own research study. We had access to all their practice management softwares. So it wasn't a third party. And we looked at and fast forwarded 5 years to see how active the patients were. 88% of patients that don't have insurance, they were inactive within that 5-year period. So we were only retaining 1 out of 10, basically. Insurance patients, we were getting about 7 out of 10 to retain. So if you think about it, you're spending all this money at the top of your funnel. They're coming to me saying, Paul, I want patients. Preferably, I want patients without insurance. Why? Well, they're easier and make more money. And I heard a bunch of swear words about insurance. I didn't know, but I was like, okay, well, let's get these uninsured patients in. But they were getting them in. And guess what they were doing? They're going right out the back door because they weren't pre-appointing. They weren't coming back in.
I think that also looking at how people are attracting those patients, I feel like, they're so quick to pull those really cheap get them in, dangling the carrots in front of them. And once those patients are drawn in that sense, they just kind of look for the next deal. And so that was one thing that I loved with your product is this is a consistent low monthly income or payment that they're paying, and they're invested when they make that low payment. They've invested into your practice, and so they are more inclined to stick around, which I think is great.
Like, think of the offers. So if you're doing marketing, so we're just talking about this. So Tracy, you don't have insurance, nothing hurts in your mouth.
Right.
You're sitting on the sofa watching TV, and through various marketing methods, I've got to convince you to get up and go over to the dentist, which is going to cost you a lot of money, and you're not in pain.
Right.
Or I'm going to convince Rob, who has dental insurance, hey, Rob, you have a benefit that you're not using. Why don't you come into the office? It's going to cost you $0 for your exam, cleaning, x-rays because your employer's paying for that benefit. Well, it's easier to get Rob into the office than it is to get you in unless you're in pain. If you're in pain, you're going to go into the dentist. How much is that going to cost, Rob, if they're in pain? What can you do at that point?
Couple thousand.
It's going to cost them money. So guess what they're going to say? Stupid rich dentist charged me $2,000. That was a bad experience. So I'm going to do what? I'm going to avoid the dentist because he's really rich and he causes me lots of pain and he drains my pocketbook. So it's this bad cycle that happens with uninsured patients.
Paul, what you're talking about too, and tried into it with all your experience for years and years, but I find it interesting this is a business concept that sometimes we dentists and front office team members, we don't glom onto because we've never been taught this, but you just reminded me of the fact that in-house plans uh, cause a consumer or patient the ability to belong to something. And what we've done is condition patients throughout all these years to belong to a dental insurance plan. And so if they don't belong to a plan, they don't feel that same need to go in and receive dental care. And we know that when we're preventative, it's a lot less money to see somebody twice a year than it is to see them just when they're in pain. So I remember some studies being done years ago on this very topic about if they belong to something, a dental plan.
Yeah.
If they belong, and it's like,
Amazon
well,
Prime or any of these. I mean, there's tons
yeah,
of data business-wise.
exactly. You know,
What they
Costco,
spend.
you know, Sam's Club. If I belong somewhere, I'm going to go to that place. And so it's just this is like a business protocol, a business topic that's taught in MBA type courses, but we don't get that information. And so you were way ahead of the curve back in the day, but now we're seeing, I mean, aren't we all seeing more people wanting to belong to a plan than we did years ago? The ADA came out with, what was it called? Shame on me for not being more prepared on this, but it was, they had their own in-house plan. It was almost like a direct plan, and there was a name for it, and I can't remember what it
I
was.
remember this.
But it was way ahead of its time. Yeah. And people didn't fully understand having an in-house plan. Yeah. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, would you, ever thought about doing an in-house plan?
I think that we're so focused now on being subscription based too. I think that that's been part of the appeal. It's easier to do just a monthly low payment and have all the benefits.
And I have to say, I think that our patients that are on our membership plan versus our patients that have insurance are more likely to come in for their recare because they see that money going out. It's not part of their paycheck or their company's paying for. And so, like you said, it incentivizes them to go in because
Amy, they're financially committed.
Yeah.
And because
they're our best patients.
Yeah, their corporation they work for, they don't see that going out. They just know they have a benefit. That's an excellent point.
They also see the value by coming in instead of just being in pain. That they get to come to the dentist and leave with a toothbrush and a smile and their teeth are cleaned without having something diagnosed. Or if something is diagnosed, it's in bite-sized pieces. It's not
Surprise.
a load that has been dropped
Yeah.
when they come in pain.
Yeah.
I was thinking, sorry to interrupt, but I was thinking about before this. So before I got involved with membership plans, my doctor, of course, wanted some way to get the patients involved. And so he thought he could do it on his own. And he was having me implement a monthly payment plan with the patient. And keeping track of that in general, having a separate calendar set aside with all these monthly payments. And we were talking earlier about how half the time those credit cards didn't go through, and now I'm calling the patient, which is frustrating the patient. I don't have time. We're all very busy up front. That was one of the things that I identified the need of having something similar to this, but I also needed the help. Yeah. I needed somebody to be there for me to help get things set up. So
Exactly. I think I remembered the ADA's plan. I think they just called it direct reimbursement.
oh, really? There you
It
go.
was their direct reimbursement plan, which didn't have a really good marketing connotation to it at all. Direct reimbursement, what does that mean? Again, way ahead of the curve, but now I'm going to go back to one more thing. All these people that aren't on a dental plan, I just saw some research from the ADA that there's a big chunk of them that never go to the dentist. Yeah. And of course we know that nationwide, nearly 50% of people don't see the dentist regularly. So going back to your point, Amy, if they are paying for something, they're more committed to the thing that they're paying for. And now we're placing oral health care at the forefront of patients' discretionary spending, right? Kind of cool. Well, Paul, what is Dental Menu? And that's kind of like a fun name. I'm just going to say, it sounds nicer than some of the other ones out there. What does Dental Menu have that other in-house plans don't have? Give me give me the elevator pitch, but give me
Yeah.
multiple bullet points that
So
I want to hear.
one of the reason we have the name dental menu is when you go into a restaurant, you want to have a menu, right? You want to look at what you can order, and it's very transparent. You don't usually go to a restaurant and they're like, well, hey, just order stuff and we'll bill you when you're done. Maybe it's $20, maybe it's $3,000. And that's how it feels sometimes when you go to the dentist. If you have insurance, patients feel like, well, the insurance is going to fight for me and make sure I don't get screwed over and make sure the big bad provider doesn't charge so much. And healthcare's really screwed this up because we've all seen the $100,000 bill and the insurance paid $2,000. And you're like, oh, I'm glad I have insurance.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
And so the menu concept came from all these phone calls we had recorded from new patients. And so the new patients call in. First thing they're going to ask is price if they don't have insurance. And a lot of times it sounds like they can't even access care. You know, sometimes there's a visible sigh even for like, do you have insurance? Well, that comes across as like, do you have any money? Can I access, you know, your money? And if you don't have insurance, I'm worried to treat you. So the menu concept is make it very transparent. Let's have a menu of services that patients need to have on a regular basis, and let's let them create a subscription to the office, which is kind of how dental menu. That's not a very short elevator pitch.
No, I wanted the longer elevator.
If you look at
40 floor
at the 40 floor,
elevator
so
pitch.
if
yeah,
you look
keep
at starting a plan, you want to do it yourself or you want to have someone help you. If you look at the components to it, first you got to figure out how to price the plan. Then you've got to come up with all your kind of marketing type of stuff, your brochures, landing pages, all that kind of stuff. And then you've got to have a way to bill the patient. And, you know, if you're doing monthlies, you got to figure that out. Then you got to keep track of when benefits are used. And then you got to keep track of the ledger and when they're eligible and all that kind of stuff. And so that's essentially what Dental Menu does. If you look at these are not insurance plans. Dental insurance is not insurance, in my opinion, either. It's a prepaid
dental benefit plans.
So if
definitely
you're
not
running a dental
insurance.
benefit plan, I mean, you look at what, you know, the value, we rip on insurance a lot. And we can talk till we're blue in the face on that. But if you look at the value they provide, they bill the patient the premiums, they keep track of the money, and in theory, they pay out a claim when services are used, and that's kind of their value. I think they take way too much for that. But let's take some of those value things and let's put them into a software. We don't live in 1950. We can create a software that does all of these things that insurance provides and let you guys have access to those types of things in your practice. So that's ultimately what we do.
Yeah, I kind of want, I don't want to leave the topic and I want to come back to it, but might as well discuss it now. One of the things that I found with dental in-house plans is a lot of them, you run it, meaning you ladies have to run the plan, collect the payment, everything else, and just added more duties to your already, you know, your high duty roster of things you have to do. So what has Dental Menu done to alleviate those tasks that we see of other in-house plans? You know, do you have to run them, you have to collect the money and run everything, or do you get to have them do stuff for you?
They have done our marketing. They do our brochures that we present to
They
patients.
do the marketing. They do the brochures.
They do the application. We input the application information, but it's so fast to have a patient present them with what the benefit is that we're providing for them to have affordable payment options for not just a single person, but a family. We can show them right on the brochure the value of the plan, of what our fees are if they were to come in without being signed up. And then, so, you know, quick math, they can see that, oh, my payment is broke up to cover these fees, but we also discount anything that's not already covered or that's not included.
And so what's mostly covered? And I mean, as far as I understood it, you know, my team implements the plan for me, but here I am, the dentist. I mean, I'm seeing, you know, cleanings, x-rays.
That's one thing I love about Dental Menu is you get to decide.
Yep.
And I think the name is like, it's a menu for the office to be able to pick. And so what's important to my office? It's to get the pro fee every 6 months, get bite wings once a year, panos. We can include all of that. We get to decide. And then we do a discount off of treatment, but we kind of get
So
to
like
decide the
major
diagnostic and
work,
preventative. Yep, and we can choose what discount we want to give to patients. So that's been really nice.
And so every plan is catered a little differently, Paul, depending on what the office wants.
So they're all white labeled, so it's branded for the practice. Patients are actually still charged from the practice on their credit card statement. We don't collect the money. The software does all the heavy lifting, but you got to be careful if you are using a vendor, because a lot of them are kind of insurance-like companies. And so, in my opinion, anytime you get a company in between you and your patients, and they're collecting the money, they're controlling the relationship. It's crazy to me that people can switch from, say, Dentrix to EagleSoft and their patients never know.
Right.
But if they switch from a membership vendor, you have to that's silly. It shouldn't.
There is one that I know of, and in the contract it actually states that they are that company's clients.
Yeah, patient.
And,
They
and,
can.
they're, and they're taking ownership.
Okay, wait, I want to
on
clarify that. So it's literally an in-house plan that states to the patient that you are their client, not my patient.
So
correct?
that was
In the
yes.
fine print of the
And the
eight-page
fine
contract.
print. And I was a little bit frustrated because I thought to myself, how many times in dental with dental insurance do we hear that if you drop an insurance plan, that insurance company will go and tell all of your patients that you're no longer with them? Well, the way that this contract was with one of the other dental membership clubs was they are their clients. And so if I decide to stop my relationship with that in-house plan, what are they going to tell those people? Oh, well, that doctor's no longer with us, but this doctor is.
Yeah.
And you can
pretty
keep
much
doing
gave
your
all your
monthly.
cash pay patients
And
to
so
third
they
party.
admitted to me
Wow.
when I called them out, they admitted to me that, yeah, it was a potential, but don't worry, we would never do that. Well, then you should remove it
Should be
from
a
Well,
your
then
potential.
remove it from the
contract.
contract.
And so that's where the trust is a big deal. And one of the things that really appealed to me is number one, you mentioned transparency. That was huge to me, and I loved the concept of a discount off of restorative procedures. That was something that I expected
With dental menu.
with dental menu. But what was really cool was the opportunity to give patients more of like a credit or a reward towards future services. And really, whether it's a discount off of future services, a larger amount or a smaller amount plus a little reward, it balanced out. But patients love seeing that when they come in for services, let's say for cleaning, they can earn rewards to put towards restorative procedures.
Okay, wait a minute. Let's back up
You
here.
didn't even know about this, did you?
I'm a patient. This is enticing to
It's
me.
kind of cool.
I'm a patient. How do I get a reward?
So this is if
use
you
your
want
included
to.
benefits when you use the cleaning.
When I use the
So it's
cleaning.
not a credit. I'm going to tell
Yeah,
Tracy.
sorry. Please clarify.
It's not a
You're
credit.
right. You're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's clarify that.
It's a reward for using your cleaning. So
And what's that reward?
Whatever you want it to
I
be.
mean,
For the
most
office
offices
wants.
do like, what do you guys do? A
Ours is
25
50.
$50 towards treatment.
So I can actually build up a bank?
Stockpile is what
Well,
I tell
rewards.
a
them.
reward. I
Rewards.
know. Let's just call. I know it's a play on names. So I can build up rewards towards if I ever need future treatment.
Yeah.
Okay, that's bomb.
Isn't that
How many
cool?
years you guys been in business for?
About 7.
7
We're in our
years.
7th year, yeah.
It's almost like the .com era. That's about when we saw all these
Yeah.
in-house plans starting to really pop up. Okay, so that's like one. Give me 2 more benefits of me being part as a patient, being part of dental menu, and give me 2 or 3 benefits of practices, and maybe you can all chime in because you're already chiming in.
Oh, I'm
I
having
mean,
fun with this.
you're all talking, but yeah. Okay, give me 2 more benefits why me as a doctor should use your company.
So one of the things that I know Tracy will probably speak to this, but you can also have different upgrades, if you will, like you guys are big into that. So
Yeah.
you can have, I've got offices doing Botox as an add-on. Like Amy was saying, whatever you are offering,
Ooh.
you can wrap that up into a subscription.
Value-added service.
Yeah, fluoride could be an add-on. You can have fluoride included if you want, but no
Yeah.
one buys your plan because it has fluoride. So if you can keep your base price as low as possible, airlines have figured this out a long time ago.
Okay, now
You
you're
know,
talking
think of
my
all
language.
these businesses.
Yeah.
You buy the base plan, you get access to this. Maybe my wife wants to add whitening every time she comes in. She wants the gel and the trays.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I don't care about that, so she adds it to her plan. I don't add it to mine. So you can really build out your menu of services. Any benefit that you need at a frequency, we can put into a plan, into a menu, so patients can decide what they'd
Okay,
like.
give me one more. Why I should run with your company and not somebody else.
So then one of the other things that we do really unique on the back end, we've got integrations with most of the softwares, but there's a lot on the ledger side. We get a lot from office managers of what the bleepy bleep do I do with the revenue, and where does it go on the ledger, and how do I handle that? So if you've got multiple providers and your collections production is not matching, meaning your patient comes in, they get an exam, cleaning, x-rays,
Right.
and you adjust those off to zero, your production collection doesn't match, your provider pay doesn't match. That affects practice valuation.
Exactly.
That also opens your
accounting.
poor front office ladies are open up to fraud. I mean, you don't want to be adjusting things off. It causes a lot of issues. So
Exactly.
we do a lot on the back end to help with that.
To protect on that. Love it. Right, ladies?
I think for patients and the doctor, if you're due for a cleaning and it's one day before your 6 months, you can decide to let them come be seen.
Yeah.
You can do a crown if a patient needs a crown without worrying about sending the right documentation to the insurance. There's so many great things. I wish all my patients were on our membership plan.
It would make it a lot easier, that's for
It
sure.
would.
It really
That's
would.
interesting. And you think about the insurance companies and what they're bringing in premiums. In my mind right now, I'm just thinking about what they're bringing in premiums and what they cover and what they pay out. And membership plans are like, it's a wash either direction. The only difference is on a membership plan, the patient, the quality of care is not regulated. And we're seeing a lot of insurance companies, Washington, Oklahoma, Hawaii, we're seeing a lot of, there's some insurance companies that are regulating the quality of care, and yet they're still paying the same premium. Interesting. They don't allow the patient choice. It's a LEPAT, least expensive professionally accepted treatment. We on the plan can do MEPAT, more expensive professionally accepted treatment. It's because it's a percentage discount. You don't have to feel like you're compelled on the quality of delivery.
Well, and you said something really interesting to me, which was more of a transparency from the patient's perspective. I think that there's a huge difference of having the money automatically taken out of your account before you're paid through an employer versus seeing that actively being done. And this isn't a bad thing. The patient is seeing, I'm contributing towards my dental health, therefore I should use those benefits. And the insurance companies, kind of depend on that patient not really noticing that money being removed from their paycheck before they
Sweet.
actually get
They're
paid.
not giving them a
Because they
reward
don't
when
want,
they're
and they
cleaning.
don't
Oh
want.
no, definitely not.
They're
a
not.
reward.
Well, and they
That's funny.
hope that the patient doesn't take advantage of at least the 2 cleanings a year because that's going to help their bottom line. And so that's the thing is, we want the patients to see us. We want to help them.
Exactly. I want to come back to that patients because I want to talk about the retired patients too. Are there any states, Paul, that you cannot have an in-house plan?
I mean, every state's different. It's interesting because a lot of, even the last 5 years, there's been great strides in the direct primary care legislation, made it more clear for dentists. Right. So you just have to check each state. Certain ones like Washington, they want you to have a little coupon you give them. And so you just have to look at the states, but we haven't really seen any that we're not able to do.
Sometimes it's almost like the insurance lobbyists kind of want to make your life difficult because you are, again, direct competition. Ladies, have you found, I've actually moved probably a half a dozen retired patients just in the last 2 or 3 weeks onto dental menu, and they've had United Healthcare Medicare. Can never keep it straight. Okay, so, and they're looking at how much they have to pay on that, and then they're looking at what we offer on the in-house plan.
How much are they paying?
Well, all I know is going head to head. I tell them to look at it.
And it's better.
I haven't wanted to ask, but I want to ask. But I just say compare it head to head. They're dropping UHC.
Really?
And they're running with the in-house plan. So it must be
better for them.
Must be better for them because we just had 2 more husband-wife team I just saw sign up, which is another interesting thing with dental menu. You see when people sign up on the plans, you get the emails. And then the other thing too is when it actually gets billed to the patient, what does the patient see? Are they seeing?
Well, let's see a charge from Thorup Dental.
From Thorup Dental. That's what they've been saying instead of XYZ Corporation of unknown origin.
Yeah, because
right?
then you get a lot of them calling too and denying, denying.
For
And who's
fraud
this?
or whatever.
Yeah, who's this?
Yeah.
What's this charge from XYZ company?
Comes from Thorup Dental. That's another. Yeah, that's another.
That's
thing
one
I've
of the
seen.
things that I wanted to talk about is we're currently filming this and getting near fall when open enrollment happens. And I'm thinking to myself that, okay, patients are going to start calling our office saying, what insurance do you recommend? And this is a great time for us to really talk about what other options they have. And the fact that we have an alternative other than, hey, drop your insurance, I think it's going to be really appealing, especially as we watch the economy change, and people are starting to get really smart with insurance and what's covered and what's not, and starting to think outside the box. And this is becoming more accepted. And again, with the subscription concept that we already have, kind of excited to see what happens.
Scrutinizing where their money's going too. So how long y'all been on offering a dental in-house plan?
I can't remember exactly, but
Or I should say,
maybe 6
not
years.
in-house plan. It's a dental membership plan.
Membership.
I know. See, I still have the old terminology that, is being done away with. And it's, again, all in plain words, but dental membership plan. How long?
5 or 6 years. I don't remember exactly.
I think we're
Erica?
about 6 or 7. It was.
And
we've
we're
been-
about the same amount of time? Yeah. Implementation. It simple with dental menu, or, I mean, let's talk
Yeah.
about, Paul behind his back or in front of him on the table. I mean, is it pretty simple to implement with patients?
It's so great because they'll come in, and we have lots of patients that aren't insured that will come in pain, or and we can tell them, this starts today. There's no waiting period for this.
Oh,
You sign
waiting
up today
period.
when you're in pain.
Right.
We'll discount what we do for you today. They obviously don't get a reward until they've done their cleaning, but so the reward will be earned when we see you back to start anew. We are going to now do preventative care before you are in this situation again, so that you will earn these rewards and they can stockpile until something comes up that you
Something
need to
else,
use them. So having no waiting period and having them be able to implement it as soon as we meet them and show them, we're here to help. This is to help you. Yes, you can pay cash. Sure, you can. And not get the additional benefit of the discount of being on the membership plan. But the value that you receive today in being able for us to take care of it, and that we're going to see you before something else flares up.
I find it interesting with our other in-house plan we
That's what I've
had.
been thinking
We
of.
would do that, and then they would drop the plan after they got the discount.
Yep.
But I don't know what the secret magic pixie dust is with dental menu. We're not seeing that.
I know what it is.
Okay, what is it?
And that's what the appeal was for me, is you're right. We had a couple of patients that would say, great, it's X amount to sign up, done. I get my discount, cool. And they would get all this work done, and then suddenly they drop the plan. And, of course, in the back of our mind, we're like, well, we'll just flag that account, but lesson learned. But I really felt like there was no way to avoid that from happening. And that's why a lot of these insurance companies do have the waiting period, right? Is they know patients are going to sign up and then drop insurance, and they don't want that to happen. So I think the rewards concept is what keeps the patient going, because if you're going to pay and accumulate this money towards future services, why would you want to
drop it?
Drop the plan? Because it's a use it or lose it concept.
Yeah, so I want all
which
of you.
I love.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying I love it, because I think that's where we were able to retain those people.
I want everybody to know that watching this, these, we have talking points that we want to cover, but this is unscripted. And we're putting Paul on the spot here, but what Tracy's just talking about, this is exactly what we had. We had with the other plans that we ran, and they drop them like a lead balloon. But now I'm asking in my mind, the reason why I bring it up, Paul, is what is it that dental menu has, and are you finding the same in your offices, that it's a low attrition rate?
Yeah, I think so. And I think that there's also, and this is probably per office you can decide, but we have an enrollment fee. And so they have to pay a little extra just to sign up. And that's kind of to let them
some skin
know,
in the
if you
game.
drop it
Yeah.
and we sign you up again, you have to pay that again. So then that makes them want to keep those lower monthly fees up, because they don't want to pay that enrollment again.
So here's what I'm hearing from all three of you, is you're taking the time to educate the patient, not just about the features, but the benefits. And and you're taking the time to say, hey, look, you can have rewards, you can have, you know, and the sign up fee, you don't want to pay that again. But it's really, in my mind, it's creating, Paul, a relationship between the office patient bond. In my
I think they
on that?
understand too. We're not salesmen. We didn't get into dentistry to sell you
To
something.
sell insurance.
Right.
To sell insurance. We did not. That's not why we got into dentistry. So when you take the time to show them the value of what we have to offer, it really is an introduction to the office of, we're here to help. We are not, you know, it's before they get back to the doctor. I know that sometimes dentists get a bad rap for, you know, over diagnosing or whatever, but those of us presenting the plan, it's for their benefit.
Erica, what advice would you give everybody watching our YouTube channel on this? What advice would you give somebody in your position in office about membership plans? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that they have to believe in the value of it before they can present it to somebody.
The value in the membership plan.
The value in the membership plan, the value in having the preventative care that will help them, so the big stuff is less often. If they're getting that preventative care, and I can tell you from being uninsured prior to working in dentistry, taking a couple of kids and myself to the dentist looked like trying to eat an elephant. Like it was a huge undertaking, right? It was a few $100s for each of us to have the basic services of preventative care. And having something that is manageable in a monthly payment of a fee that is, it's doable. Like it would cost that much to take each of us, if we went to dinner as a family, it would cost each of us that amount to eat one dinner of what it costs to have an adult and children on a membership plan.
Wow, that's a good analogy.
And so much more value for it. And habits, teaching the kids habits of getting into the dentist as often as they need to. You can tell somebody that, but if you haven't been uninsured, I just think that somebody walking in without insurance who have been to another practice, had been told that this for you and your 2 children is going to be $850 today. I mean, oh my gosh, we can't afford to go to the dentist. We can't afford to do $850 every 6 months. But you know what? We can do $60 every month.
Right.
Wow.
I love it.
It's pretty compelling, Paul.
And
Aim-
can I chime in real quick, because I want to hit on a point she said. A lot
Yeah.
of people ask, what is the key? How do I make my membership plan work? And at the beginning, you notice what Erica said. You have to believe in it. It doesn't matter if it's
I'm
20.
glad you're talking about this because I want to come back on it.
Yeah, so I
Hammer
mean,
it.
if it's
Get it.
$22, $25, $28, $32, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What matters is that the value proposition is there and that the team believes in how it was priced and how it was put together, and there is a real value to the patient. Because if it's a slick Rick used car salesman type of a sell, they're not going to
believe
present it and get behind it. And then on the backside, if you don't have a good way to manage it and make their lives not hell, they also aren't going to want to.
Exactly.
We meet people all the time, like, well, we have a plan. Where is it? Well, I hide it. I only use it if I have to.
Yeah.
Well, it's priced incorrectly, or it's just not fun for the front office. So if anyone's listening, like,
And not
this is the key.
managed correctly.
It's not managed correctly.
It's not managed correctly. If they are having,
Yeah.
if it is something that they're trying to do on their own and they are adding that to their regular work of the day-to-day stuff, who's going to sell that on? Would you make me have more duties today than what I signed up for when I walked in the door?
It'd be way more work.
But when you are,
We call that the dichotomy of dentistry. That's on a whole podcast I did. Let's just bury the office managers, front office team members
Right.
with more chores to do in a practice and give them no training on it too. That's our favorite, right? Amy,
But-
go
sorry,
ahead.
I was just
Erica.
saying, having it managed where that doesn't add to our work, that doesn't add to the details of our day, is we are a few minutes with the person talking to them about what we have to offer. they can think about it. We'll send them back to the back with the brochure and let them, because there's time, right? Before the doctor
Yeah.
comes in, there's time.
Oh, yeah.
And they can take the literature back with them, and they don't have to decide right when I've talked to them for 35 seconds, maybe 2 minutes, between that time frame, 2 minutes to 30 seconds, somewhere in there. But we give them the time. You decide if you think that this is right for your setup. If it's not, that's fine. We'll collect your full payment
So
today.
you're
Pay in
giving
full
them the
today, and in
choice.
6 months you can decide to
And then
expand it.
you might come back and be like, you know what, that really, I should have done it 6 months ago because I would have had a consistency reward.
Just had one. Amy, do you have, you got anything you want to add to that?
I would say if you're looking into a membership plan, look at what fees you're generally getting from insurances. Like, for a pro fee, our standard fee is over $100. But, in reality, we're collecting, I hate to say it, but as low as like 50 to, 85 or 90,
Wait, are you saying the hygiene department is a loss leader and not profitable on dental plans? I mean, I think
Not
that's
so
what I
much.
just heard in my ears, but we don't like to
we're,
talk
we're
about
dropping
that,
those
do we?
those lower ones, but
Yeah.
so you kind of look at maybe we're not, and you add up those numbers. Like, so you do 2 pro fees a year, bite wings, 2 exams a year. What are we making on our average insurance? Because you don't want to price it too high. Because if you price it too high, they're not going to be interested. We want patients on this plan. Because another thing that I didn't think of, when you mentioned the United Healthcare Medicare, they pay 100% of everything up to $1,000.
Yeah.
Well, that $1,000 goes really fast.
Yeah.
So that's another thing you don't have to worry about.
Amy, that's a really good
Maxes,
point.
you don't have to worry
Yeah.
about frequencies. We like patients on it. So you want to price it right. I think it's
Bundling,
important too.
down coding,
Yeah.
everything else that they try to do to make your lives wonderful.
Yeah,
Right?
I always like to say,
The
why
patient.
are the best patients getting the worst deal?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
I mean, it's just crazy. It's like in business, imagine any company that does a profile and says, here's my best customers, so I'm going to charge them double.
Yeah.
Here's my worst customers, and I'm going to give them the best deal. It's no other business does that. That's dumb.
Paul, that's an excellent point.
A couple real things. So you both said something, and in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh, I've got to say something. You both hit my thoughts exactly on the head, which is number one, we have to look at this from a business perspective, and as front office people, we need to realize we're running a business. And so when we set these fees, I did exactly what you said. I thought to myself, what is the lowest reimbursing insurance that we are accepting? And we've already done an analysis knowing that we're profitable on that specific insurance. So if I'm willing to accept this amount, then that means I should be willing to accept that amount from my in-house membership plan. So that's exactly what where my mind went. And then secondly, we are busy. It needs to be fast, simple, easy. So the beginning might need a little bit of accounting and business mentality. But once that's done, I loved the fact that I sat down with you guys and said, these are the fees. This is what I want included. Here's our logo. And before I knew it, everything was set out for me. I had a brochure. I had a landing page. I had training for my team. And I hate saying it, but I did very little work. And you know how much I appreciated
Keep it
that.
up, Paul. We want to
Hey,
do very little
I did
work.
very little work
Because
too.
it's fast, simple, and easy.
Give a shout to the onboarding guys. 'cause
Yes,
Yeah.
they did
and
the
and
work.
and
They
that
did
was
the
a big deal for me. So I was grateful when that happened, and I know the team was, hey, we got it. They trained us really well. We're confident with it, and the integration process to me was really simple.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I was just really grateful that
Well,
you guys were involved with.
I want to point out that if it's like Tracy said, if it's not fast, simple, easy, we don't want to do it. And one of the main reasons we switched Dental Menu is because it was fast, simple, easy. The accounting was a lot cleaner. Patient acceptance and the whole program that you put together, Paul, is fantastic. It's out of the box thinking, and you guys are, light years ahead of the competition. I want to thank everybody for being here today, and I want everybody to know that Dental Menu's here. We get no fiduciary interest in talking about this company. That's the way we like to keep it here at My Practice, My Business. We do not take money. We love to highlight companies that are just doing great work for all of us in dentistry. And Paul, I want to say thank you so much. Erica, Amy, thank you for your input. We are grateful for your comments have caused me to think. Paul, I've learned some new things about your company that I brought on board, and I rely on my team to bring on board. So thanks, everybody.
And we will be adding some contact information for Dental Menu down at the bottom of the video for those who are interested in learning more.
On behalf of all of us here at My Practice, My Business, thank you, and have a great day.